Welcome to RickRackRuby. I'm Laura Cluvo. Today we will be making the Treasure Pocket Tee from Duck Butt Designs. It's fun and easy, so let's get started. The thing that makes the Treasure Pocket Tee really special is, of course, the pocket. I've cut the pocket from the Mystery Machine panel. This is the Big Kid panel. And the first step is to apply this little pocket band along this pocket edge. I'm going to press this flat and then pin it along this edge, and I will be right back. It looks like this, and I'm going to sew it a scant quarter inch from this edge with a regular sewing machine and a regular straight stitch. That looks good. Now I'm going to press this flat and make sure the seam allowance is flat to the inside, and I will top stitch. That looks good. Even though I use a straight stitch, there's still plenty of stretch left, so don't be concerned. The next step is to, it's really cute, it's really fun. It's the pocket lining. When I created this pattern for the pocket lining, I actually drew this line for the pocket opening. And so I fussy cut this lining piece. The only part of the lining piece that actually shows is right there where the opening is. So I fussy cut this to see if I couldn't get Velma. I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll give it a try. Anyway, the next step is just to baste these two pieces together. And I suppose that you could probably just pin it and move forward, but I just want to baste to be sure. I'm making a child size 6, and depending on how elaborate you want to go, the next step is optional. The next step is to add a band right along this curved edge. It's not really included in the pattern, it just tells you to cut something this length. But I had this collar band already cut, and I thought, well, let's try that. That would probably work. And it's a little bit too long, but it definitely does work. So I will press this wrong sides together and then pin along this edge, and just so that you will know where we're going. After we sew this in, we're going to attach, this is the rest of the front. It's going to be awesome. This is pinned, pressed, pinned, and ready to go, and I will stitch this along the raw edge with a straight stitch on my machine. I also have a brand new jersey needle so that I'm not getting any skip stitches and everything is nice and smooth. I realized about halfway through that I still had my machine set on basting, but I think that's okay because we have the opportunity we are going to sew another piece. This again is the collar band piece. And so I'm just using, I cut a second one, so I'm just using this for this edge. And I can presume that no matter what size you're making, the collar band will be generous for this option, if you choose to do this option. For the rest of the front, I'm going to pin this curved edge. And I will be right back. This is pinned and ready to go. These pieces, they're perfect, they're ideal, the seam allowance is included, everything is great. And the first time I made this project, I will tell you that I thought that I could serge this, and that was a mistake. First of all, there are 5 layers of fabric here. And even though the serger worked beautifully, it took off a little bit too much of this band. You can see I kind of lost it, and then I tried to adjust, and then down here it got a little bit wider. but it was difficult. And maybe if you have a little bit more skill and experience than I do, you can get this to work right. But this to me was frustrating. And I just wanted to pass this, note on to you that I had much more success just sewing this on the regular sewing machine. This looks good. I'm going to press it and top stitch this edge. I have my machine threaded with navy thread, and I also have my serger ready to go with navy thread. My top stitching is done, looks pretty good, and the next step is easy. I'm going to use my serger. This is the back, and here's a sleeve. Here we go. It's all kind of the same print, so I know it's going to be hard to distinguish one piece from another, but I'm just going to right sides together, serge the top part of the sleeve to each side, and then the back, this top part of the back to the remaining side. This is one of those patterns that the sleeve is designed differently. So there are 2 notches for to match the back, and there's one, oops, wait. No, this is the back. Okay, so in the sleeve, there is 1 notch to match the front. So this will go like this, and then there are 2 notches to match the back. This is the back. And, sometimes they just make the sleeve the same, But in this pattern, the front and the back edge of the sleeve are a little bit different. Anyway, right sides together, I'm going to zip this up on my serger, and I will be right back. My sleeves, my front, my sleeve, and my back are all together. And now I'm going to match up these seams, these underarm seams, I guess, right here. And then I'm going to stitch all the way along the sleeve and down to the hem on each side. I'll use my serger. My side seams are done, so I will turn it right side out and have a look. Looks pretty good. Let's do the neckband. I'm making the neckband from the same striped fabric, and I will sew this right sides together and then press it flat, wrong sides together, and then I will match it up to the edge of the collar and pin it. I'm a pinner. Some people like to use those clips, and the clips are great too, but I just never really got the hang of them. I'm a pinner. So I will sew it, press it, pin it, and then I'll be back. So I pinned it and stitched it, and I like to stitch from the inside. I just use a zigzag, which is a nice basic stretchy stitch. And to be honest, the first neck band piece that I had, it was too long. And when I had it, I started to pin it, and I realized it just wasn't going to work. So I had to recalculate the length of this neckband, and for the size 6 on this pattern, I cut it to 14.5 inches and then did a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So it's about 14 inches to go around this neck. And the calculation was to measure around the neck opening and then multiply by 0.8. So it's 80% of the neck opening for a stretch neckband. And it's 1.5 inches wide. Now I'm going to turn it and press it flat, and then I'm going to top stitch with a twin needle. Since I'm opening up a new package, I thought I would share this with you. I use the Schmetz brand of twin needle. There's only one in a package. They are not inexpensive, so I try to take care of them. And I'm going to select this one. It says 2.575 or a 137.05. These 2 needles are a little bit closer together. So I have this kind and this kind. And this one is the 2.5 and this one is the 4. and I'm going to use the 2.5 for this project. A twin needle requires us to actually thread 2 threads through the machine, and obviously 1 thread through each one of these needles. So it's actually 2 needles, but there's only 1 bobbin thread. And so the 2, I don't know how it's magic, but they just sort of both go down and connect to the bobbin thread. And the result is a nice stretch stitch. So don't be afraid to try it. You can practice a little bit first, but I sewed a little swatch to show you the doubled lines of stitching, and then the underside looks like this, and it's very stretchy. So now I'm going to top stitch along the collar. And to be honest, this stitch right here will be visible on the inside, which I don't like, but I don't know the solution for that. It's not that bad. There we go. There's the top stitching along the collar. And as long as I have my twin needles ready to go, I'm going to hem the sleeves. I'm just going to turn up about 1 inch, and then maybe 3/4 of an inch, but I think 1 inch is better. And then I'm going to top stitch from the outside, which means I'm probably going to turn this inside out. So the 2 needles, the 2 lines are on the outside. And I will repeat for the second sleeve, and then I'll be... Here's what I mean when I say that I'm going to sew from the inside. I'm going to flip this over 1 inch. That looks like about 1 inch. And then I'm going to stitch it about 3/4 of an inch. But I'm going to put the needle in here. So it's going to go because this is the right side. This is the inside, and this is the outside. So I'll turn it right side out. They look great. Now the last step is the waistband. I have cut the waistband 25 by 6. So the first thing I'll do, I'm going to use the serger for the rest, is seam up the short ends here, and then fold it back and press it. And then I will sew it to the bottom of the shirt. And here's a tip, and I know I've shown you this before, but when you're folding these together, you don't need to stack these seam allowances. They get awfully thick. So just go ahead and nest the seam allowances. Just set them right like that. And that way you'll have a flatter seam. Like this, and then like this. There's a little twist in the middle. Here's my waistband. It looks pretty good. So I'll turn this right side out and let's have a look. It's taking up too much space on my table. I know you can't see the whole thing. Okay, so here's a super cool little pocket over here. There's Velma. Hi, Velma. And everything looks pretty good. I wanted to show you the first one that I made. I did a little bit different. I made this sleeve a stripe. I was looking at the way this design goes like this. And I thought it would be fun to have this sleeve be the same and then this one be different. But then after I looked at it, I thought maybe I should have just kept it all the same. And this one is, other than that, it's just about the same. Oh, also I used the twin needle where the needles are a little bit further apart. But besides that, it's about the same. So whatever you like, you know, you could try using a different fabric for one sleeve or have them both the same and have fun with figuring out what you're going to have peeking out of the pocket right here. So this is the Treasure Pocket Tee from Duck Butt Designs, and the fabric is from Wonderground, and right now it's still available. Thank you for watching my tutorial. If you're enjoying my videos, please like, share, and subscribe.